The global shortage of AI processors is largely a misnomer. The primary bottleneck isn't math, it's routing data fast enough to keep processors fed. In March 2026, the financial markets reacted to a perceived shift in this dynamic with targeted panic. Traders initiated a sudden sell-off across the memory sector, causing shares of specialized manufacturers like Micron Technology, Western Digital, and SK Hynix to drop sharply in a single afternoon. The catalyst for this market reaction was the publication of a software suite by Google Research called TurboQuant. TurboQuant demonstrated an average 6 times reduction in the physical space required to store temporary AI memory, while accelerating computation speeds by a factor of 8. This positioned an elegant mathematical compression technique as a direct threat to a $100 billion physical supply chain. This exact market dynamic is governed by an established rule known as the Jevons Paradox. By creating the conditions for extreme efficiency, Google's algorithm established the mathematical requirements for a massive aggregate hardware buying cycle. To see why this paradox applies, we have to examine the physical architecture inside an AI data center. Hardware architects and data center operators refer to this strict physical boundary as the memory wall. The initial industry response to the memory wall has been to purchase exponentially larger volumes of high bandwidth memory, or HBM, a specialized type of ultra-fast silicon stacked directly next to the processor. The industry is currently spending hundreds of billions of dollars to physically scale a memory routing architecture that is built on a foundation of inefficiency. Google approached this bottleneck by attempting to alter the mathematical shape of the data itself, rather than buying more silicon to house it. Historically, compressing 16-bit vector numbers down to a 4-bit scale through quantization destroys the nuanced relationships between data points, degrading the AI's reasoning. Older compression algorithms also require storing heavy metadata to normalize the shrunken files, negating the intended efficiency gains. Google bypasses this overhead using a technique called PolarQuant, which applies a mathematical function known as a random preconditioning matrix. Instead of crushing the high-dimensional data, PolarQuant mathematically rotates the vectors into a polar coordinate system. This rotation preserves the geometric relationship between the individual data points, simply shifting the perspective so the data forms a tightly bounded, highly uniform distribution. Because the data is now completely predictable, the algorithm successfully strips away the heavy normalization metadata entirely, achieving extreme baseline compression.